It is 3 a.m. and your mind is awake again. Not because something is happening right now, but because something already happened. A conversation, a rejection, a moment that should be over, yet it keeps replaying itself like your brain is stuck on a loop. You know thinking about it will not change anything. You know it only makes you feel worse, but you cannot stop. It feels like the thought is thinking you. Some people stay trapped in these loops for years. Others learn to step out before the spiral takes hold. So why do our minds latch onto painful experiences with such intensity? And why is letting go one of the hardest things a human can do? This is the psychology of obsession, and understanding it may be the first step toward freedom. To understand why we fixate, you have to remember that obsession did not begin as a flaw. It began as a survival strategy. Long before we had language, humans survived by noticing threats, analyzing them, remembering them. If a predator attacked from the north side of the camp, obsessing over that danger kept you alive. The mind that ruminated was the mind that survived. Your brain still works that way. The threats changed, but the machinery did not. Today, the dangers are emotional rather than physical, but your nervous system reacts as if they are the same. Rejection feels like danger because, in evolutionary terms, being excluded from the group once meant death. So when someone leaves you, embarrasses you, or hurts you, your brain treats it like a crisis that needs to be solved. This is where rumination enters the picture. Rumination is the repetitive focus on negative thoughts without moving toward resolution. It is not problem-solving, it is not learning, it is mental circling. And here is the painful irony. The more you circle the thought, the more your brain believes it must be important. Repetition strengthens neural pathways. You are literally training your mind to return to the wound. This connects to a real psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect. Human beings remember unfinished or unresolved experiences more vividly than completed ones. Your mind relaxes when a situation is closed. But when a relationship ends without explanation, or when a conversation ends wrong, your brain cannot file it away. It keeps the loop open and returns to it again and again, trying to finish something that cannot be finished. And the more you revisit it, the deeper the grooves become. Obsessive thoughts also get stronger because of something called thought suppression. When you tell yourself not to think about something, you think about it more. You monitor your mind to check whether the thought is gone, and that monitoring keeps the thought active. You are trying to put the fire out by staring at it. This is why telling yourself to stop thinking about your ex or stop obsessing over a mistake never works. The intention is good, the mechanism is impossible. But obsession is not just about unresolved thoughts, it is about unresolved emotion. You do not obsess about the date that went well. You think of it and smile. Then you move on. But the date that ended abruptly, the rejection with no explanation, the opportunity that vanished, those stay with you. Not because you enjoy the pain, but because your brain is trying to make sense of something that does not make sense. Humans are meaning-seeking creatures. When something violates your expectations about how life works, your mind tries to create a story that makes it understandable. Even a painful story feels better than no story. So the mind creates explanations. They left because you are not enough. You failed because you are fundamentally flawed. These explanations hurt, but they provide certainty, and certainty feels safer than chaos. But here is the truth your mind does not want to accept. Some things will never make sense. Some actions are not logical. Some endings do not have clear reasons. And that uncertainty is what obsession cannot tolerate. There is also the modern complication. Social media gives you endless access to the very thing you are trying to release. You can watch the life of the person you cannot move on from. You can analyze their posts for hidden meaning. You can compare your life to theirs in real time. So how do some people break free? They learn something essential. You cannot control your first thought, but you can control the direction your attention goes next. That intrusive memory will appear. That urge to check their profile will happen. But your power lies in what you do after the thought appears. Psychologists call this metacognition. It is the ability to observe your mind without getting swept away by it. When you notice the obsession rising, you name it rather than fight it. For example, this is the thought loop about why they left. Naming it creates distance, and distance creates choice. This is the foundation of mindfulness, not emptying your mind, but training your attention. Each time you notice you are spiraling and gently bring your focus back to the present, you are weakening the obsession and strengthening a new neural pathway. Presence is the antidote to rumination because obsession lives in the past and the future, never in the now. There is also a deeper psychological truth. Many obsessions are not about the person or event you think they are about. They are about what the situation touched inside you. A breakup might reopen a childhood wound about not being enough. A job rejection might trigger old fears about worth and identity. The present becomes a doorway into an older pain. This is why logical advice from friends rarely helps. They are addressing the situation while you are experiencing the wound. Until the wound is acknowledged, the obsession simply shifts to the next situation that resembles it. Another piece of the puzzle is grief. We often obsess because we refuse to grieve. Letting go means accepting that the story will not continue the way you hoped. It means accepting that closure may never come. Obsession keeps the story alive. It keeps the door open. But healing requires letting the door close, even when you cannot see what is on the other side. Obsession can also be a form of avoidance. As long as your attention is trapped in the past, you do not have to face the present. You do not have to take risks. You do not have to feel uncertain. Obsession keeps you occupied. It feels active even when nothing is changing. So what do the people who heal do differently? They allow the discomfort instead of avoiding it. They grieve instead of circling. They practice presence instead of replaying. They accept that some questions will never be answered. They focus on what they can control, which is the choice to redirect attention again and again, and eventually the neural pathways weaken. The emotional charge fades. The thought loses its grip. If you have ever been stuck in a loop you cannot escape, you are not broken. Your brain is doing what it evolved to do. It just needs a new direction. The question is no longer, why can I not stop thinking about this? The real question is, what am I afraid to face if I stop thinking about this? Because when obsession quiets, something else rises. Grief, uncertainty, emptiness. And inside that emptiness is your chance to rebuild. That is the psychology of obsession. Not a flaw, not a failure, just a pattern that once protected you and now needs an update. And the moment you decide to stop feeding the loop, even for a second, is the moment you take your mind back.